Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the program. It's Monday, September 14th, coming to you live from our studio in Seoul. I'm Kim Jongun. Before we get started, these are the stories we're following at the top of the hour. Beginning today, South Korea lowers its social distancing level from 2.5 to 2, easing business restrictions on restaurants, cafes, and fitness centers. The government will also decide later in the day on whether to resume offline classes for schools. Washington Post associate editor Bob Woodward's Rage, which is set to be released Tuesday, cites U.S. President Donald Trump in saying Pyongyang and Washington were close to war in 2017. And voting for Japan's ruling Liberal Democratic Party is set to kick off this afternoon, with Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga likely to take the helm. If elected, Suga will have a high chance of taking over Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's place on Wednesday. Our top story this morning, South Korea confirmed 109 new COVID-19 cases Monday, edging closer to double-digit numbers. With a downtrend, the government has eased social distancing measures in the greater Seoul area. Starting today, we'll be going from level 2.5 back to level 2, meaning restaurants can serve customers after 9 p.m. and cafes can let people eat and drink inside. But to prevent resurgence during the upcoming Chuseok holidays, the government will designate 2 weeks during that time as a special quarantine period. Our Kim Hyun-jin has the details.
The new measures take effect Monday and will continue for the next 2 weeks. But the Korean Thanksgiving holiday of Chuseok starting in late September poses risks because it's a time when millions of Koreans typically travel all throughout the country. So Prime Minister Chung Se-kyun said during a meeting of the Central Disaster and Safety Countermeasure Headquarters that the 2 weeks starting from September 28th will be a special quarantine period. He did not specify exactly what that means, but he did say that it will include strong prevention measures. The Prime Minister Chung also urged people to show understanding for the more than 20,000 people in South Korea who've contracted the virus.
Even when people recover from the virus, many of them are left with an emotional burden because society brands them with a scarlet letter. Anyone can be infected with COVID-19, so please put yourself in their shoes.
With the strictest rules lifted, customers can now eat and drink inside cafes and in restaurants even after 9 p.m. Gatherings indoors are still limited to fewer than 50 people and outdoors fewer than 100. For people in the Seoul area, it's a big step towards returning to normal life. Kim Hyun-jin, Arirang News.
Following the government's easing of social distancing measures to level 2, South Korea's Education Ministry will decide on whether to resume offline classes in the greater capital area later today. Under social distancing level 2.5, kindergartens, elementary and middle schools in the capital area had been instructed to hold remote classes until September 20th. After a meeting with municipal and provincial superintendents, Education Minister Ryu Hyun-jin will announce if schools should continue with the current system or allow students to conditionally participate in offline classes, just like schools in areas outside of the capital. Now, the global COVID-19 tally surpassed 29 million cases. Latest data shows Europe is witnessing a major resurgence, with France reporting more than 10,000 daily new cases this weekend, its highest tally since the onset of the outbreak. Over 30,000 people have died of COVID-19 in France. The COVID-19 death toll in the U.S. is expected to surpass 200,000 this week. Reported infections in Iran have now exceeded 400,000, the world's 12th highest number of confirmed cases. Its health authorities say the death toll has topped 23,000. A Hong Kong professor says she has evidence to prove the COVID-19 virus was created in a lab in Wuhan. The professor, who fled to the U.S. for her safety, says she's now determined to share her findings with the world. Our Lee Seung-jae reports.
In an interview with British broadcaster ITV on Friday, Dr. Lee Meng-yan, a scientist who used to work at the Hong Kong School of Public Health, says she has the evidence to prove the COVID-19 pandemic, which has killed hundreds of thousands and infected over 29 million people, is a lab-manufactured virus from Wuhan. Yan, who fled Hong Kong fearing retribution from the Chinese government for making claims that exposed Beijing's cover-up, says she would soon publish evidence that would prove that the virus is synthetic and could even be verified by non-scientists. According to the professor, the genome sequence is similar to that of a human fingerprint, adding she will use such evidence to show people how the virus came from a lab. She says even if one does not have expertise in biology, it can still be read, checked, identified, and verified. The virologist noted that claims the virus emerged from so-called wet markets in Wuhan are nothing but a smokescreen made up by the Chinese government to hide the true origins of the virus. In July, Yan said China was aware of the virus long before it warned the world. She added that a WHO advisor also did nothing to alert the world despite knowing the same. China strongly denies the virus originated in a lab, saying the WHO has said there's no evidence that is the case. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
A survey showed that working from home due to COVID-19 barely affected the productivity rate of employees. The Korea Employers Federation study shows that almost 90% of the 69 largest companies in South Korea had a working from home system in place. Of those with the system, nearly half of them said the productivity rate was at least 90% of working on site. The study also showed the majority of them have expanded their reliance on technology, such as messengers and cooperating tools, to enhance the capacity of working from home. Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga is almost certain to succeed Prime Minister Shinzo Abe this week, with voting for the ruling party's leadership set to begin in the coming hours. If he wins as expected, Suga is likely to be appointed Prime Minister on Wednesday. Our Kim Hyo-sun has the details.
Japan's Chief Cabinet Secretary Yoshihide Suga is the overwhelming favorite to become the new president of the country's ruling Liberal Democratic Party on Monday, succeeding outgoing Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. He's on course to secure nearly 70% of the party's votes. Suga enjoys a commanding lead over his two rivals, a former defense minister and an LDP Policy Research Council chairman. Suga, who has been Abe's right-hand man for years, said he will continue to consult with Abe for diplomacy, highlighting that continuity is key.
There are complex issues between China, South Korea, and other neighboring countries, but it shouldn't be a choice between one or the other. We need to strategically form relationships with these countries and communicate regularly. That's the kind of diplomacy I want.
He emphasized the importance of the Tokyo-Washington alliance, describing it as crucial to establish and maintain good relationships with other Asian countries. The new LDP president is almost certain to become Japan's next prime minister, as the party holds a comfortable majority in the House of Representatives, the important lower chamber of the Diet, or the country's parliament. Voting in the LDP race is set to begin at 2 p.m. Monday, and the Diet is scheduled to elect the new prime minister on Wednesday, when it kicks off an extraordinary parliamentary session. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
One of two men behind the exposure of Watergate is set to release a book on his conversations with the U.S. President Donald Trump on Tuesday. The book includes various events the president faced regarding North Korea, including a time in 2017 when he said the two countries were close to war. Our Kim Do-yeon reports.
It was revealed that back in 2017, the tension between the U.S. and North Korea was at its peak, with the two almost going to war. This was the year North Korea successfully tested multiple intercontinental ballistic missiles, putting the U.S. within reach. Such stories are included in Bob Woodward's soon-to-be-released book Rage, containing his conversations with U.S. President Donald Trump. When Mr. Woodward asked whether the president had openly discussed tensions with the North Korean leader at the time, he refrained from answering the question directly, but said Kim Jongun definitely knew then. In fact, Trump said when Mike Pompeo, then the head of the CIA and a Secretary of State nominee, visited North Korea in late March of 2018, Kim said, "We were very close," referring to war. As for the South Korea-US alliance, Kim Jongun never complained to President Trump about the US forces stationed in South Korea in their conversations, both in person and on paper. According to Mike Pompeo, this could be because the presence of US forces keeps China on its toes. On the other hand, it was the US president himself who wanted to withdraw forces from South Korea, accusing the ally of taking a free ride. Some of the interviews discussed COVID-19 as well, including one in late March, when the US had reported more than 110,000 cases of COVID-19 nationwide. At this point, North Korea had yet to admit to a single case of the virus, but when Woodward asked the president whether the Hermit Kingdom had been hit hard, the president confirmed, saying the situation was serious there. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
Massive wildfires burning across the west coast of the U.S. have now claimed the lives of more than 30 people. The infernos have destroyed an area almost a fifth of the size of South Korea and is also causing serious air pollution. Our Kim Jae-hee has the story.
Deadly wildfires have blanketed large swathes of the U.S. West Coast with intense smoke pollution, causing dangerously unhealthy air conditions. According to reports, fires in 3 states have forced tens of thousands to flee their homes and killed at least 33 people. At least 10 people have died in Oregon, 22 in California, and 1 in the state of Washington. This includes a 1-year-old baby as well as a 13-year-old boy who died inside a car with his dog. According to the U.S. National Interagency Fire Center, around 100 fires burning in the states have destroyed property and forest in an area almost a fifth of the size of South Korea.
We lost all of our probably 99.9% of our posts and our wire, all of our inventory, and all the homes, 5 different homes, 5 different shops.
The fire burned 360 around it, only like 4 feet from the house, so that's nice. I lost my sheds, but whatever. Those will be replaced.
Oregon's Office of Emergency Management warned last Friday of a mass fatality incident. On the same day, California Governor Gavin Newsom described the devastation as a climate emergency. 1 day later, U.S. President Donald Trump said he will visit California on Monday, but said the fires were due to inadequate forest management.
Tonight, our hearts are with all of the communities in the West battling devastating wildfires. I'm going there the day after tomorrow. But it is about forest management. Please remember the words, very simple. Forest management, please remember.
Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden said on Saturday that the fires demonstrate that climate change poses an existential threat, accusing President Trump of denying this. During his stop in California on Monday, Trump is expected to be briefed on the latest situation. Kim Jae-hee, Arirang News.
In Major League Baseball, the Toronto Blue Jays' South Korean pitcher Ryu Hyun-jin gained the 4th win of the season on Sunday, local time. The left-hander struck out 7 batters and gave up just 1 run in 6 innings as his team came back to beat the New York Mets 7-3 at Salin Field. His expertise getting himself out of danger shined throughout the night as he allowed 8 hits. His earned run average now stands at 3.00.
Good morning. We had an autumn breeze to start the day, but highs will jump to the mid to upper 20s in most parts of the country, with large temperature differences between day and night across much of the country. And many people come down with a cold when the seasons change, so do dress accordingly and take good care of yourself. And now for a closer look at today's highs. Seoul and Busan will get up to 26 degrees Celsius. Gwangju and Daejeon will make it to 27 degrees this afternoon. Most areas will be under sunny skies with strong autumn UV rays, but it's going to be rainy on Jeju Island. In fact, those of you in Jeju and the southern parts of Jeollanam-do Province will see showers from this afternoon. And the rain could come down hard on Jeju with 10 to 50 millimeters of rainfall expected. There will be rain across the whole country on Wednesday. Then Jeju is forecast to see rain again at the end of the week. That's Korea for you, and here's a look at the weather conditions around the world.
That's a wrap for us at the hour on Arirang News. We'll be back with more of the day's headlines at noon Korea time, so stay tuned. Thank you for watching and goodbye.